As an American, the first FIFA that I ever picked up was FIFA 10. I admittedly was a novice at the sport and the franchise back then. I was far more familiar with American football. But after watching YouTubers like MGH and Calfreezy do some amazing career mode series on YouTube, it actually sparked my interest to try it out. And what I found was a franchise mode that was so much deeper and so much more rewarding than any other sports game that I had ever played up to that point. It blew Madden's franchise mode completely out of the water. And it's probably a major reason why I fell in love with soccer, or don't get triggered guys, football. But little did I know that FIFA 10 was going to be the beginning of the end for the game mode that I was currently falling in love with, because FIFA 11 would be the first year that Ultimate Team would become free to play. And once the money started flooding in, every new installment of FIFA saw Ultimate Team become bigger and bigger, while career mode got smaller and smaller. And within 8 years, career mode went from being one of the most popular, one of the most celebrated modes in FIFA, to being relegated to this sad little box hidden away on the second page. Like when I said career mode got smaller and smaller, it literally got smaller. And while EA promised us year after year that they were listening to the career mode community and that next year would bring, innovation, we just needed to stay patient. Honestly, their actions spoke louder than their words. And now that leads me to today, because Gamescom has come and gone, and for the first time ever since me following FIFA, they have announced 0 new major changes to career mode. Actions speak louder than words, and EA's actions are saying that in FIFA 19 we want career mode pretty much dead. In this video, I'm going to discuss how we got to this all-time low, the frustrations of a forgotten community, and offer up maybe some solutions to get EA to care about game modes that aren't called Ultimate Team. This is how EA murdered career mode in FIFA 19. Now let me preface this by saying that I take no joy in making this video because I actually like EA Corey and Zaro. For those of you who don't know, they're the new community managers for FIFA. And since coming on halfway through FIFA 18, both of them have been genuinely great at listening to the feedback from the community and providing transparency every time changes were made to the game, which may seem like something small, but you need to realize that up to this point, EA had been notorious for making changes to the game without explaining either rhyme or reason, and then just going radio silent until it was time to start promoting the new FIFA, essentially. So the introduction of Corey and Zaro were a huge step in the right direction, with the FUT community experiencing a lot of changes that they have been asking for in record speed. And even beyond that, I had heard from first-hand accounts that Corey himself had been inquiring on ways to improve career mode because he is a fan of career mode. So all of those things looked really, really promising, but I have to call things how I see it. And while this is all kind of nice and dandy if you're an Ultimate Team fan, no major changes to career mode, to pro clubs, to my player. It just says so much about what EA truly values in FIFA 19. But let's rewind a bit and see how we got here. Let's take it back to E3 2018, and it didn't look good for FIFA at E3 if we're going to be completely honest, when their whole presentation essentially was, look at this trophy, we got a real trophy, new trophy, who dis? No news about career mode or any game modes really beyond that damn trophy, but we never really get news at E3, so I wasn't too nervous. Fast forward to EA having their FIFA Twitch event. Still nothing about career mode, just focused around FUT, which I understand. FUT is the moneymaker. It's the most popular mode. It's going to be the focal point of advertising. And yes, we know you have the trophy this year, EA. We get it. It's very nice. By this point, a lot of us in the career mode community were all kind of just nervously joking with each other that, like, hey, if the only addition to career mode this year is that gosh darn Champions League trophy, I'm going to lose it. We were joking. We didn't know it was gonna be true. And let's move forward a little bit. The FIFA 19 beta comes out, and surprise, surprise, 0 changes to career mode can be found. Now, I'm getting a little nervous, but I still held out hope that Gamescom would bring some good news, because Gamescom traditionally always brought news on career mode. Admittedly, it was never anything groundbreaking added to the game mode, but there were at least a few new changes of worth here and there. But then Gamescom 2018 happened, and as you guys already know, for the first time in a long time, EA Sports announced that there will be 0 major changes to career mode.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
So you can understand the community's frustration, because our expectations were so low that literally the only thing that could piss us off was if they gave us nothing. And then they gave us nothing. And just to rub salt in the wound, when asked if there were any career mode announcements, Corey responded with, Serie A, La Liga, UEFA? Aren't those career mode changes too?
No.
Now I can probably speak for the majority of the career mode community when I say, no, Corey, it definitely is not. And I don't want to jump on him, because I honestly think he had the best intentions with this tweet, because licensing is important. It's one of the main reasons why they've held so much dominance over PES all these years. But Corey, I want you to realize that essentially what you did was took a community that was dying of thirst. You walked up to them and you replaced their empty generic water bottle with an empty bottle of Voss. It's a nice bottle, but we need some f***ing water. And I get it, you guys probably paid a lot of money for these licenses, but a reskin is not something that this community really wanted or even asked for. And if you think that me calling it a reskin is a bit harsh, it's actually their own word. In an interview with GameSpot, lead game producer Sam Rivera told GameSpot, when it's Champions League day, everything changed. There's a reskin. That was our highest priority. Their highest priority. But he goes on, but we are listening to our fans. They've been requesting more stuff, bigger stuff in terms of career mode and in terms of pro clubs. There's discussions right now to see what can be added in the future. We know it's a very passionate community. At the moment, that's all we're announcing for these modes. But are you really listening to these communities? Because you're trying to tell me that you listened to the career mode community and thought that a Champions League reskin was our highest priority. Bruh, do you understand what you were even saying? You are asking career mode fans to essentially pay $60 for a roster update and Champions League DLC. And you know what's the most egregious thing? Just look at the generic trophy and look at the real trophy. It's like the same thing. Maybe I'm wrong in saying this, and that, people will actually really do get, OCD that it isn't the real Champions League. And yes, Champions League theme slaps. No doubt about that. But pitching a reskin as your main addition to FIFA 19 for career mode came off as completely out of touch with the community that you're claiming to listen to. We were joking that the trophy was going to be the only major addition, and it came true. Frankly, it was just a huge insult to a community that has stayed loyal and patient despite years and years of bare minimum upgrades to career mode. The game mode that built FIFA into the juggernaut that it is today. A game mode that millions of people buy FIFA every single year to exclusively play. A game mode that you have forgotten. And let's go back to that line where you said you were listening to the pro clubs community, because that is just hilarious. Because that meant you heard what they had to say and determined that what the pro clubs community wanted in FIFA 19 was absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing changed. At least we got a reskin. Maybe I should be thankful. Why even bring them up? It's so condescending. It's like when a politician goes up to a poor person and says, I feel your pain, and then turns around and does nothing to affect policy. Now here's what is the most frustrating part about this, because I think that a lot of this was just a PR blunder. I think they caught a bad headline, and a lot of this could have been avoided if they were actually in touch with the career mode community they claim to be listening to. If you would have just taken 5 minutes to consult one of the dozen of career mode YouTubers that you have in the Game Changers program, all of them, I would have guessed, would have told you that making the Champions League trophy as your main selling point was a terrible idea, and that it would probably piss off a lot of people in the community. And what's even more shocking is that it has come out later that 0 changes to career mode isn't technically true. I think that there are actual meaningful changes that are coming to career mode in FIFA 19 that they just didn't really know how to pitch. I try to be fair. When they add something good to the game, I will applaud them. And when they do something that's silly, I'm going to call them out for it. And the addition of ultimate difficulty in career mode is actually a really good change. Fair play to EA, because Legendary difficulty, which was the highest difficulty that you could play as in career mode, was far too easy this past year. Yeah, like honestly, career mode got like so stale so quickly in FIFA 18 because once you assembled like a Crystal Palace caliber side, you could walk the league. Having challenging AI is key to making career mode satisfying to play. Hell, it's important in making any game compelling to play. And as someone who's played well over 100 hours of squad battles against the ultimate difficulty last year, I must admit that I loved it. And what I enjoyed most about it was that you could definitely feel the difference between using someone like Cristiano Ronaldo and like a Wilfried Zaha. And that is a huge factor in career mode, because after you grind a season, you save up your funds and you make the right investments to grab a world-class player like Ronaldo, it kind of kills your buzz when you realize that you could just use Ahmed Musa and basically get the same level of production. It breaks the immersion of the game way more than any generic looking trophy. Additionally, there are some nice new tweaks to career mode that they didn't even bother to mention. One being that you can finally manually grow strength and sprint speed attributes in the training sessions. The lack of a manual way to go ahead and train these physical attributes has been a bane of this game mode for years. You don't understand how much of a godsend this is going to be for people who love using younger players, who love going ahead and building their team through the academy system. Well done EA, it's a really, really good addition. And beyond that, they fixed it so that this year, for the first time, your budgets will now properly increase and reward you for a really successful season. For you guys that are unfamiliar with career mode in the past, even if you were to win a treble, your transfer budget would only increase moderately. And what that shows is that EA are actually listening to us, because both of these features has been things that the community have been asking for years. So to EA, to Corey, to Gazo, I know they aren't as flashy as your new trophy, but if it was me, these are the changes that I would have let out with when asked about career mode in FIFA 19. And additionally, onto these new features, there also are a couple of, little nice things. There's going to be new cutscenes in the tunnel and the dressing room, apparently. And if you win Champions League, a star will appear over your badge. These are neat additions, but I don't see any of them being game changers. Speaking of game changers, once again, I need to give credit where credit is due. EA, Corey, and Gazo have been proactive in recognizing the lack of innovation in career mode and have added every single career mode YouTuber on the planet to the Game Changers program. I mean, at this point, is there even a career mode YouTuber that isn't a part of the Game Changers program? Anyone? Anyone? Tangent real quick, the funniest part about this tweet is that EA Corey actually liked it, and then immediately afterwards, he followed me on Twitter, only to not invite me into the Game Changers program. And after this video, I doubt I will ever be invited, but I would like to go ahead and take time to applaud this master level troll. Well played, Corey, you rogue. Jokes and bitterness aside, the YouTubers that are now a part of the Game Changers program are an all-star team of career mode diehards. I have 100% faith that if EA actually listened to their input, great changes are definitely in store for the future of career mode. And we need to preach patience, because Corey and Zaro came on halfway through the development cycle of FIFA 19, and the majority of these game changers only came on board in the past 1 to 3 months. So it was unrealistic to expect drastic changes this late into the FIFA 19 development cycle. But once again, EA, you need to understand how incredibly frustrating it is for a career mode fan that FIFA 19 isn't even out yet, and you're essentially asking the community to stay patient until FIFA 20. Like, seriously, we have been staying patient since like FIFA 12. So let's get to the root of it. Why would EA do this? Why would EA take a game mode that built a billion-dollar franchise and cast it aside like an adopted ginger? Well, they actually have a lot of reasons. 800 million reasons, in fact. Ultimate Team is not the elephant in the room. It is the planet orbiting the moon at this point. Now, I'm not going to sit here and decry Ultimate Team, because simply, I like Ultimate Team. I objectively think it is a brilliant game mode. Like, the ability to allow you to make it basically the ultimate fantasy team of all your favorite players is a great concept. I play a fair share of it. I've admittedly pumped thousands of dollars into the gray mode over the years, so to denounce FIFA Ultimate Team would bluntly make me a hypocrite. Unlike in other EA titles like Star Wars Battlefront 2, FIFA has actually a pretty fair game economy. And the proof is on YouTube. You can go on there right now. You can see people like Nick28T, A9 Skills, Nepenthez, and all of them can make absolutely ridiculous OP God Squads without spending a single penny. If you put in the time and the effort into SBCs, tournaments, squad battles, FIFA Ultimate Team rewards you pretty damn fairly in my book. Like, actually way more fair than a lot of other like kind of pay to win microtransaction games. And as an adult who doesn't have as much time to play video games these days, I don't mind spending a little bit of money in order to go ahead and catch up to these kids who have all the time. You can argue that, you know, it's exploitative to prey on kids that are stealing their parents' credit cards, or maybe it's playing on people's natural addiction to gambling. But in my opinion, I think that people should take personal responsibility. If you're an adult, no one's forcing you to spend, you know, $1,000 on digital cards that hold no value in the real world. And if your kid steals a credit card, you gotta be the good parent and put them up for adoption. I say all of this to say that I don't have a problem with FUT or FIFA points. My problem is that EA has made FIFA so FUT focused that at this point, FIFA is pretty much a Vegas casino to them. Like, think about it. Their business models are shockingly similar. When you go to Vegas, you still have to pay to go stay at the casino, much like you have to pay $60 every single year to play the newest version of FIFA. But FIFA and Vegas essentially have the same objective once you enter. And that objective is to make it as lightly and attractive as possible that you gamble. Think about it. All the bright advertising lights, the biggest floor space is dedicated to gambling in Vegas. You literally need to walk through a maze of tables and slot machines to get to your rooms. FIFA is the same way, having all the prominent front page hub pimping out Ultimate Team pretty much. You need to scroll past all of that to this pathetic little box down on the second page to go ahead and play Career Mode. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. All the while, the flashy pack animations for special players flood YouTube, kind of like when you're in Vegas and you hear the slot machine hit jackpot on the casino floor and someone goes crazy. It's just letting you know that, hey, if you just invest like a little bit of money into this game, you could be the one pulling Ronaldo. Now compare all the pizzazz and hoopla to this sad little box hidden away on the second screen. It's very apparent they don't want you playing career mode for the same reason you cannot buy porn in a casino hotel room. They'd rather have you downstairs playing the slots instead of up in your room playing with yourself. Every moment you're playing career mode is a moment you aren't playing Ultimate Team. And many are going to say right here, wait, what about the journey? That is a game mode that EA have pumped a lot of resources and money into making, and that's a free, single-player, story-driven experience that fans have been clamoring for years. And to that I counter, it's a story that can be completed in like a mere 10 hours, and riddle me this, what do you get at the end of the journey? Yup. In both their editions of the journey, you get an Alex Hunter FUT card that leads you right to where? FIFA Ultimate Team. Everything in FIFA is geared to position FUT as the most attractive mode in the game because it's the smartest return on investment. So why would EA spend time and resources into making game modes like career modes and pro clubs better when the more boring that these game modes actually are, the more likely people will turn to Ultimate Team instead? And that's where Vegas understands something that EA does not. And that is, not everyone who comes to Vegas wants to gamble. Even though gambling might be the biggest allure of Vegas, it's not everyone's cup of tea. But what Vegas realized is just because that they don't want to gamble doesn't mean that they aren't willing to spend money in order to have a good time. So in order to maximize profits, Vegas went ahead, morphed itself to cater to more diverse tastes. Just look along the strip now and you can see a collection of world-class live shows, super nightclubs with like world-class DJs, and fine dining from like the world's most famous chef. FIFA right now is like a casino that only does gambling. But if it wants to diversify and build new revenue streams, then game modes like career mode, like pro clubs, like my player, they could be the Vegas equivalent to the live shows, the super clubs, the world-class dining. Not the main course, but huge industries on their own. And interestingly enough, what we have seen in Vegas recently is that the younger generation are gambling less and less while spending more and more money on the clubs, the dining, and the live shows. Except Asians. They'll never stop gambling. Asians love gambling. Seriously, EA, you have missed out on billions because you should have been pimping out Ultimate Team to Asian markets for years.
Asians love gambling.
But let's bring it back. So, up to this point, I have only told you what EA are doing wrong without giving you any real solutions. Now, if you haven't seen Angry Joe's rant on Madden, which is another sports franchise run by EA, I would highly recommend pausing this video right now and watching it because a lot of what he says there actually applies to FIFA.
It is a platform that looks and plays like football, but every year they are adding small, tiny little upgrades that we have requested for years and years and years. Franchise mode hasn't been touched forever. Wait 5 years till everybody's super pissed and then add one little thing, two little things to franchise mode, and then people will stop bitching, but then add 17 things to the MUT mode.
But to summarize, essentially Angry Joe argues that Ultimate Team should be a free-to-play game. FUT already prints money, okay? So treat it like the Fortnite model. The packs on the FIFA points is how you make your money anyway, so making the barrier to entry free would greatly expose yourself to a bigger market, and thus more likely to go ahead and track those whales who will drop like 20, 30,000 K on a game annually. And then you make FIFA a separate standalone game with a separate development team so it can focus on career mode, my player, pro clubs, and give it the proper attention that it deserves. I would guess that millions of people would be willing to buy a copy of FIFA that is actually upgrading the core game modes yearly, because that is exactly what they were doing before Ultimate Team was even a twinkle in EA's eyes. You're letting the overwhelming profits of Ultimate Team blind you to how much money you are missing out on by actually giving some love to career mode, to my player, to pro clubs. Here's my fear, and that is EA feel like career mode, my player, and pro clubs are a dying breed. They are relics of the past, and their communities are only a vocal minority to the juggernaut that is FUT. But that simply is not true. And there's proof in the numbers. Just hop on YouTube right now, EA, and you will see Jared HD. He is a career mode exclusive YouTuber who has exploded over the past year and is regularly pulling more views than a lot of the big time FUT YouTubers. And as for my player, you got people like B4 Lancer and A9 Skills who have millions of views amassed using their creativity to build stories around the my player mode every single year. And once again, I say that if these game modes were actually dying, then how are these YouTubers thriving? And then there's pro clubs, which I honestly think has the biggest potential out of any of these modes. It is a sleeping giant, as we have seen how popular it can become, because its equivalent in the NBA 2K franchise was actually the most popular game mode in that franchise for years. And with games like Fortnite eating into Ultimate Team's player base, it would be a wise business decision to go ahead and diversify what your game has to offer, because right now, your consumer base is ready to jump ship, EA. And that's why I'm telling you that licensing isn't as important as you think. PES isn't your main competitor. It's Fortnite and whatever's the new Fortnite that comes after it. When something more innovative, cheaper, and more community friendly comes along, everyone's gonna jump. And if EA continue their current trajectory, the next Fortnites of the world are going to cut deeper and deeper into FIFA's profits. So how can EA continue their golden goose? And how can they make game modes like career mode be a part of the formula? It's a football simulation. Honestly, how much farther can you take it? Well, I think that career mode can be so much more, honestly. I just thought of this morning, but build the game around your manager. Customize them, not only in appearance, but be able to level them up and bring on perks like in Fallout. You can specialize them in boosting the form of players through motivational speeches, or maybe choose a perk that helps develop young players like 25% faster in training, or have a perk that allows higher chances of successfully negotiating transfers. These branching paths would allow different playstyles and replayability. And you could double dip in your Legends licensing, as I'm suggesting this because I personally would want it, but could you make some of these Legends playable DLC for career mode? Trickle them out throughout the year. It would get people to come back to your game just like you do in Ultimate Team. And that purchase could go ahead and give you a loan of that legend in FUT. Yeah, cross promotion like the Journey. I'm trying to think like you guys are. I know, this is actually not the most consumer friendly things to be offering, but I am desperate. And if it means that EA actually focus on improving career mode, I will gladly pay up. Then there's my player, and you have a creator in B4 Lancer that is already in your Game Changer program. You have B4 already. Work with him to develop a My Player mode that allows you to go ahead and tell their own stories with their own pro, not another cookie cutter like Alex Hunter. You could furthermore monetize it with like a VC system like in 2K, but please don't ruin it, and don't be so pay to win, because that absolutely crippled the 2K franchise. And as for pro clubs, I realize that pro clubs has the biggest potential of any game mode in FIFA. And the reason behind that is one word: esports. Pro clubs, whether EA want to admit it or not, is the purest version of their game. And I know they've been trying to make Ultimate Team an esport for like 3 years now, but the difficulty with Ultimate Team being an esport is you can only control one player out of 11 at the time. So when 2 people are playing against each other, the AI is in control of 20 out of 22 players. That's far too much RNG and code dictating the gameplay. But when you go full on 11 on 11 squads, everyone is on the same playing field. Skill gap is the only thing that matters. And you can see a lot of the top esports in the world are centered around squad-based play. League of Legends, Overwatch, CSGO, millions and millions of streams. And trust me, you have amazing marketable personalities and people like JCC, Tim Herkins, who are esports stars. They are esports stars. And EA, all you need to do is tap them, because they are sitting there and they're waiting to become FIFA's version of Ninja. And I perfectly understand why you guys are doing what you guys are doing, because it is infinitely more profitable that you have your esport focused around FIFA Ultimate Team, a game mode that people have to spend the most money on. But here's the thing, you can do both. You have enough money to run both types of tournaments, double the eyes on your game. Or I just thought of this right now, make it that you could play 11 on 11 in FUT. Have them use a card they own in the position that they want to play. I don't care. I just want to see the highest caliber 11 on 11 squads take each other on, no matter the mode. Do you understand that you can even have like a FIFA World Cup where like England goes ahead and takes on France, it takes on America? Do you understand how hype that would be? Can you see how many views that would go ahead and pull in on a stream? And honestly, I barely just touched the surface of what pro clubs could potentially become. I honestly don't do a service. And if you want to deep dive more into pro clubs, because it's extremely fascinating, go ahead, click on the eye thingies right now, and that'll lead you to a video by JCC. And he goes way more in depth into it. And at this point, you might be screaming at the video saying, no, do not give EA any more reason to go ahead and put microtransactions into FIFA. That is a terrible idea. And to that I say, given EA's track record in the past, you might not be wrong. Like, listen, we've been here before. We've been yelling and screaming and demanding changes for years, okay? And it's gotten us a Champions League licensing. So obviously, screaming and yelling hasn't worked for 8 years. What can work? And I hate to break it to you guys, but the truth of the matter is, the only people that EA owe anything to is their shareholders. So if you can't make the words career mode and new revenue streams go in the same sentence, then the only thing you should expect is another zero change announcement in FIFA 20. And I don't think any of us want that. So this is my pitch to EA. These game modes aren't dead or something to be forgotten. They are potential giant sources of new revenue streams and advertising for FIFA. Please, EA, I'm giving it to you in terms that could benefit your longtime consumers as well as your bottom line. I understand that FIFA isn't made for free, but I do think that if you're being honest with yourself, you've become too focused on increasing short-term profits that have made you blind to the long-term success of your franchise. The video game landscape is changing. Fortnite and games like them are the future. And if you continue to disrespect your loyal consumer base, they will leave for games that actually do listen to what they have to say. Let's be frank here. A reskin on a trophy, a new difficulty bump, a few tweaks. It's simply not good enough. The career mode community has every right to be upset. In fact, I've never said this before, but if you're a fan of career mode, there's honestly very little reason for you to buy FIFA 19. If EA are saying, please stay patient and wait until FIFA 20 because changes are coming, then do just that. Stay patient and wait for FIFA 20. Spend that $60 on a game that actually cares about the game modes you enjoy playing. If you're gonna buy it, don't buy it right away. Wait till it goes on sale on Black Friday or for Christmas and you can get it for like 30 bucks, 35. And to EA, there has to be like absolutely zero excuses for FIFA 20 and these game modes. You've got 2 quality community managers, love y'all, and seemingly every FIFA YouTuber over 20k subscribers in the Game Changer program. If there are 0 changes in FIFA 20 for these game modes, then the Game Changer program essentially is just a big PR strategy to appease the most vocal voices in our community. And I don't want that to be true, but in 1 year's time we are seeing the exact same thing. Then I'm going to be here in 1 year's time with a bigger audience making an even more pissed off rant. So please, EA, don't focus on the casino. You have so many loyal customers who are willing to go ahead and spend money if we go ahead and get quality entertainment in return. And simply, career mode, my player, and pro clubs aren't something to be forgotten, because it could very well be your future. Well, this video was not very fun to make, but if you did enjoy, go ahead, leave a like, leave a comment down below. I want to have a discussion with you guys, because maybe this is just my opinion. I want to hear your guys' opinion down below. Am I on point with you guys? Am I off point with you guys? And if you'd like to check out like other videos that are a little bit lighter in tone, I do a boyfriend, girlfriend co-op career mode, ding-a-ling over here. And if you'd like to check out one of my rebuilds, go ahead and click over here, Dingsley Poos. Anyway, that is it for me, Be Modest. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Remember to stay yourself, stay humble, and until next time, stay thick.